You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The empty seat. Who was actually just that, an empty chair in your office because you couldn't find someone to fill it. So it just sat there costing you money with all its fancy ergonomic features. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can make it easy to fill that seat with the right candidate. With nearly 60% of businesses finding someone to interview in the first week alone. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
It's Monday at Mom's Basement. You know what that means, guys. Coffee is hot.
So excited. So excited.
Whoa.
So
What's
excited.
happening right now?
So excited for mine.
Look at us. We're twinsies.
Dorks.
Doug and I have the same mug.
Mine's just plain black.
Thank God
Oh.
it's only a coffee mug and
Like,
not our
sorry.
faces.
Oh, why? You don't think us being twins would be great?
I don't think the world could handle two of you walking around. Maybe it's two of me. I didn't even think of that. Maybe it's two of me and the world would be like, finally.
We must be twins because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, world can handle two of you, not two of me. On behalf of the men and women making podcasts in Mom's Basement and the men and women at Navy Federal Credit Union, here's to our troops. People kept us safe all weekend. Thank you so much.
Hoorah.
Let's go stack some Benjamins together now, shall we?
Thanks, everybody. From the cozy confines of Joe's mom's basement, where the coffee's percolating, the ideas are flying, and the hot water heater hums a merry tune, it's time once again for America's favorite money hour, the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. Yes, the fellow with the front row seat to all the basement shenanigans. And today we're taking aim at those pesky old ripoffs that have been buzzing about like mosquitoes on a summer night. We'll help you suit up, strap in, and roll out the big guns to send them packing. But that's not all. No, sirree. I've got a TikTok minute that'll take you on a rip-roaring trip through history, plus a call from our pal Stacker Lynn, who's curious about the queen bee of costly coverage, long-term care insurance. And don't you fret, before the curtain falls, I'll spin a bit of trivia that'll knock your Argyle socks clean off. And now, two fellas who never follow the herd, unless that herd's stampeding towards financial independence, your basement-bred guides to the greenback galaxy. I knew they were bred in basements. It's Joe and OG.
I think it's so awesome when you ask ChatGPT, take this open we wrote and make it old-time radio sounding. That's what you get.
Creepy.
I don't know that it was old time radio. Like, how far old were you trying to go? Like, shock jock old?
You think it was shocking?
It wasn't like Paul Harvey. That's what
No,
you're going
it's
for.
older than that. Way older. Like 1930s. Like going to the way old stuff.
I would have needed to have done it like this. I'm your ever faithful neighbor, Doug. See?
There you go.
Yes, the fellow with the front row seat to all the basement shenanigans. Like if I did that, and it's a long drive to left center field, looks like he won't get under this one.
Wow.
Then it would have been old timey.
Spoken like a guy who's been there. Welcome back to the Stacky Benjamin Show. If you think that's the only curveball we're throwing you today, is our brand new Old Time Radio Open. There's some good stuff coming today because we are talking ripoffs, and maybe this might not be what you think it's going to be. We're going to dive into that in just a moment, but let's say hello to the guy across the card table from me. Mr. OG is here today. How are you, man?
Yo, good.
It's wild in Texas because it is, I think the phrase is hotter than
Oh. No, I mean, you can't complain about this. This has been the most mild summer in the history of summers in Dallas. We've only had 5 days over 100.
We had a couple day run though, where when I went out to run with my buddies, first thing in the morning, 81 degrees we were running and like
That's
90% humidity.
A little Cleveland steamer, but But yeah, it's
I think maybe he used the wrong phrase there.
just it's like really hot and humid in Cleveland. Is that not the?
Yeah, you're right.
That's yeah. You know, when I ride my bike, like even my wife was like, she's like, I don't understand how you do this. You know, I'm not going fast, but 15, 16, 17, 20 miles an hour on a bicycle, like there's a little bit of wind. So you get the
something,
a little bit of breeze regardless. But the other day when I was out, it was like you said, 1,000,000 degrees. And I stopped at a stoplight. I could like feel the sweat dripping down my back as I was sitting there. I was like, oh, that's so nasty. I need to get going.
And sexy.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
It wasn't
visual.
sexy. There wasn't
OG always loves it when the streamers on his handlebars really get flying in the wind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds really cool when you get the playing card. It's like,
the playing cards.
So you sound like a motorcycle.
We're going to talk
it's been a mild
scams.
summer. Don't complain about this heat.
This heat is a scam, though. I want my mild summer back. Where we're going to dive into scams here in just a moment. So grab a piece of paper, maybe a pen, sit back, relax. We're going to tell some tragic tales in the next few minutes. So learn from other people's mistakes. But before we do that, we have a couple sponsors that help us keep on keeping on. So you don't have to pay a dime for any of this goodness. We're going to hear from them. And then we're talking financial scams on today's show. You may not know that when we started Stacking Benjamins, it was a blog. And even then, just the startup cost, I remember thinking, is this the right thing? And what if I write things and nobody comes, right? Well, luckily, that didn't end up happening. But starting something new isn't just hard. It's terrifying. There's so much work. You're not sure whether it's going to work out. You're not sure if anybody's going to read it. And then we change it to a podcast. Is anybody actually going to listen, right? What if nobody wants all the stuff that we have? Well, had I used Shopify, it would have been even easier because with their expertise, their helpful tools, and their easy-to-use platform, that's something that would have made Stacking Benjamins more effective much, much more quickly. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Names you've heard of like Heinz and Mattel, Shopify, Gymshark, Aviator Nation, Allbirds, also all Shopify. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. And did I mention that iconic purple Shop Pay button? It's used by millions of businesses around the world. It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. It also helps boost conversions, meaning less carts going abandoned and more sales for you. So you're stacking Benjamins much more quickly. Time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/SB. Go to shopify.com/SB. That's shopify.com/SB. Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. They're for those all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken, the times you're deep in your flow and can't be interrupted by an auto update. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to you. Built with long-lasting batteries so you're not scrambling for an outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you.
Hello, darlings. And now it's time for your favorite part of the show, our Stacking Benjamins headlines.
Today's going to be a long and windy road headline, so stick with us because this is not going to end up where we begin by a mile. First headline from the AP, and this one is written by Michael Hill. The headline is, he earned a small town's trust. He owed $95 million in what authorities say was
pocket change.
A Ponzi scheme. Apparently, pocket change to him. For decades, Miles Burt Marshall was the man you went to see in a stretch of upstate New York if you had some money to invest but wanted to keep it local. Working from an office in the charming village of Hamilton down the road from Colgate University, Marshall prepared taxes and sold insurance. He also took money for what was sometimes called, OG, the 8% fund, which guaranteed that much in annual interest.
You like literally called it that? That's
people
so awesome.
called it the 8% fund because it guaranteed that much in annual interest no matter what happened with the financial markets.
Never heard this story before.
This is the first signal, stackers.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed with the scammers that they can't mask it better. If you keep on
if
just
it's
saying
not broke, Doug, don't fix it. You don't have to get creative. Just do what. There was a story I'm just going to completely sidebar this for a second. There was a story I saw on the news last night where some older woman was at a Bitcoin machine at a gas station, like just feeding money in. Employees at the gas station were like, "What are you doing, ma'am?" And she's like, "I can't talk to you. Like, I'm in trouble." And so they called the police and they're like, "We know what's going on here. Like, can you send it?" Like, she's not listening to us. Can you send a police out there? She had fed like $17,000 in hundreds into this machine to get Bitcoin on the phone, the whole skin. And the cop's like, "Well, let me talk to the banker, cause she's like, I'm on the phone, with my bank, and he's like, "Okay, well, let me talk to the bank. I'm a police officer. You can finally the cop got her like extricated from that, anyways, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right. Like that stuff goes on. We all know people who have been scammed by that, but this is another bite at the same apple.
And it's funny, guys, because OG, you tell that story and people go, okay, that
would never happen to me.
Yeah, it's an older person who's very confused, but listen to how this set up. I mean, the name is the 8% fund, and we might have stackers going, how could you be that dumb? Something called an 8% fund. But listen to the rest of this because it gets more believable by the second. His clients spread the word to family and friends. Have a retirement nest egg? Let Bert handle it. He'll invest it in local rental properties and your money will grow faster than in a bank. Marshall was friendly and folksy. He gave away gift bags with maple syrup, pickles, and local honey in jars labeled with cute sayings like, "Don't be a sap. For proper insurance coverage, call Miles B. Marshall." He would tell you about all the other people that invest. Churches invest, fire companies invest, doctors invest, said one client, Christine Corrigan. So you'd think, well, they're smart people. They wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't okay to do. Why are you going to be the suspicious one? And this is where, OG, they get you. Because that, oh, shucks, nice, harmless, older guy, works downtown. How could everybody in town be caught up in this thing, the 8% fund, if it wasn't real?
It's compelling. That's why I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If
it
you're
is
trying
so
to
compelling.
Scam people out of money, why do you have to get creative and do it? It's super frustrating, and I hope they threw the book at this guy.
Well, when he finally got caught, he owed almost 1,000 people and organizations about $95 million in principal and interest.
That's the impressive part. Like, what possibly can you spend? Like, I feel like people have that, if I won the Powerball, I would, I could very quickly burn through, I don't know, 5 million. Like I could, I got a couple things in my mind that I could write some checks for, but how do you spend 90? And not show it off? Like, that's the other piece of it too, right? Is like, he probably kept up this appearance of, it's not like all of a sudden he showed up in a $2 million Bugatti one day to the office. This was Brewster's Millions stuff. Like, this was a straight spend.
Well, further down the piece, it says a reliable local businessman is the header. Marshall and his wife lived in a brick Victorian blocks from his office. So he's in this beautiful old Victorian style house. Aside from insurance and tax prep, he rented more than 100 properties. He had more than 100 doors that he rented out. So it was easy to say, hey, I'm good at real estate. So I'm just going to put this into real estate for you. And he ran a self-storage business and a print shop. His parents had run an insurance and realty business in the area. And his name was one of those locally respected names that everybody knew in town. It's that guy in the big, beautiful house.
Marshall Mathers. That was his name? Marshall Mathers. Is that right?
Might be a little different.
So this guy didn't necessarily consume $95 million.
He finally filed for bankruptcy and the money's gone.
Wow. Okay, so he did consume.
So he must have.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yep. The money went somewhere.
Didn't get himself a non-extradition passport out of all that money. He couldn't go on the black market and find himself like a way to get to wherever. I don't even know where those places are, some island somewhere.
Russia.
But it isn't the person on the phone who is telling you to go down to the Bitcoin machine that gets away with the huge numbers. Like they get it in little dabs and grabs, right? For 15,000 a year. Don't get me wrong. This could be somebody's entire nest egg. So I don't want to make light of the older person, but the place where people get scammed is the dude down the road that everybody respects and knows. And, you know, even the police department, the fire department, these guys, you know, you talk about the cop OG in your scenario, the cop here's like, oh, it's Marshall. Oh, I invest with Marshall. You keep feeding the machine. You know, the cop's not going to stop you from handing money to Marshall. And what about this? There's this line that you will see these companies use, invest like the 1%. I mean, let's transition here from this guy near Colgate University to maybe what turned out to be a bigger deal for a lot more people. And worldwide, we hear these companies that say invest like the 1%. Oh, gee, you want to invest like the 1%, don't you?
Invest like the 1%.
Yes. Our second headline comes to us from CNBC. When invest like the 1% fails, how YieldStreet's real estate bets left customers with massive losses. This is written by Hugh Son. This made waves last week when this hit the street. CNBC really did a nice job on this. How many times, OG, have we pointed the finger at these, quote, real estate companies that are out there telling you that you can get something that other people can't get? We pointed the finger at, now Fundrise is still around, but back in the early days of Fundrise, I remember they had the most deceptive advertising that I think I've ever seen. YieldStreet here, telling people to invest like the 1%. This piece, for people that don't know what has happened with YieldStreet, this piece starts when Justin Klisch stumbled upon an ad for YieldStreet in February 2022. He said it was the company's tagline that stuck in his head: invest like the 1%, the startup said. The ad spoke to his desire to build wealth and diversify away from stocks, which were then in free fall, Klisch said. YieldStreet says it gives
free fall. The beginning of 2022 was not free fall. Let's not use hyperbole. CNBC.
YieldStreet says it gives retail investors such as Klisch access to the type of deals that were previously only to the domain of Wall Street firms or the ultra rich. So he invested $400,000. It went directly into 2 real estate projects, a luxury apartment building in downtown Nashville.
Who can miss there?
And a 3-building renovation in the Chelsea neighborhood of New York.
Yeah. Unmissable.
Each one had targeted annual returns of around 20%. 3 years later, Klisch said he has little hope of ever seeing his money again. YieldStreet declared the Nashville project a total loss back in May, according to investor letter, wiping out $300,000 of his funds. The Chelsea deal needs to raise fresh capital to avoid a similar fate, according to another letter. Both letters were reviewed by CNBC.
Yeah, I mean, this is, my kids always ask this question, or at least my high school kid is, why do I have to learn all this stuff? I'm not going to be a insert thing here, right? I'm not going to be a English teacher. Why do I have to learn this? I'm not going to be a math professor. Why do I have to learn this? I'm not going to be in accounting. Why do I have to learn this? Because one of the fundamental things about investing, at least to YieldStreet's credit, at least they give you a target return. Because with the target return, you have to then at least assume what kind of volatility, what kind of ups and downs you're going to get with that. And a great baseline to think about are just 2 known things that you already know. You already know, what kind of volatility do I get in my savings account?
None.
0, right? So like you have that number locked in your brain. And so what do you get for no volatility in your savings account today?
Nothing.
Well, 3.5%, right?
Yeah.
Like you have a benchmark for no volatility gets me 3.5. You also have a benchmark for the stock market. Whatever index you feel like using, whatever group of stocks you feel like thinking about, we know if you said, hey, OG, I think that the stock market average is 10%. I'm not going to disagree with you. If you say it averages 9, I'm not going to disagree with you. If you say 11, I'm not going to really disagree with you. It's somewhere in there, right? 9 to 11. We all okay with that? But we have also a benchmark for the ups and downs. Well, in 2022, in the article in the stocks and free fall section, the market was down 20%. We know in 2008, the market was down 55%. We know that in the Great Recession, it was down 70%, or the Great Depression was down 70%. So we have these data points of what is volatility for this level of return? Okay. So if you have these two data points and then somebody goes, this is awesome, it's going to generate like 20%. You should go, okay, well, I have this data point here and this data point here, and now they're giving me this other one here. What does that tell you about the possibility of volatility? It doesn't mean that YieldStreet did anything wrong. They said, hey, we think it's going to grow by 20. Asterisk, really fine print. This also means it could be zero. Like not zero, right. like it means your money is going to go to zero. Because why would anybody, like, you just have to think about this very realistically and logically. If the bank's going to give you 3.5 to do nothing, and the stock market's going to give you 10 to enjoy a 30% decline 1 year in 5, and then somebody else is going to give you 20, like what kind of risk, what kind of volatility do you have to be willing to take? And this is the piece when people say invest like the 1%, there's two components of this. One is sometimes the 1% understand this and go, okay, I'm willing to take, I'm willing to throw some money at this because if I get 20%, that's good ROI. The other thing that the 1% have, the protections around that the 1% have, is they have what's the correct term? An ass load of money. So if they go, hey, I'm going to take 100 grand or I'm going to take 300 grand and throw it on this project, they're not destitute if that project goes to crap. They're like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've never met anybody that's like, I just pissed away 300 grand and I'm okay with that. Nobody's excited by that. But they don't run into bankruptcy. That's not their last 300 grand. It doesn't
ruin their life to lose $400,000.
For some reason, I've been seeing on YouTube, there's a guy who has a YouTube channel where he bets a whole bunch of stuff at casinos. Like he's like, I'm going to bet 5,000 on this hand. And he loses or he wins. I read the side story on this guy. Like he has tens of millions of dollars because of this business sale that he had. And so him betting 5 grand is like you and me betting $5. Like to us, it looks like 5 grand. Oh my God, what a big swinger, But it's still the proportionate number to you and me putting $5 on the blackjack table. You know what I mean? It just feels like a different number. And so when you're the 1% and you have 10 million bucks and you put 300 grand in an investment, it goes to crap. That sucks. But your dividends of your stock portfolio kick off 200 grand a year. So, you're kind of even money at the end of the year. You know what I mean? And this is the piece that I think everybody misses is they go, I want to, and I know you're going to talk about private equity and 401ks. I want to do this private equity 401k thing. That's how the rich do it. The rich can afford to do it.
And that's what kills me is that, so we've got the small town guy who's telling his neighbors, hey, the 8% fund, this is easy. Well, how is this guy going to rip me off? And then I have YieldStreet, which is worldwide. It is it's democratizing thing. So anybody can invest in it. How can this be bad that I get to invest like the 1%? But they put it right out in the open, an 8% fund. Are you kidding me? Like we laughed about that at the top of this segment. There is no such thing as an 8% fund. Like that's ridiculous. Invest like the 1%. If you're not the 1%, why do you want to invest like the 1%? Who can absorb all of these issues that these venture capital investments get into? And yet, on a bigger scale, OG, you already buried the lead. We just approved doing this in our 401k because you know why, OG?
Because we want to be cool.
Yeah, because we can't get a high enough rate of return, apparently, with the regular old investments that are there. So now I need to put what they're talking about doing. They're not talking about doing it. It's coming to you. It's coming to your 401k. We're talking about, on one hand, talking about YieldStreet and people losing tons of money. And we're talking about putting this inside of your 401k. YieldStreet is exactly the type of investment that has just been approved to go in your 401k.
Yeah, what is it? BlackRock or whatever wants to put in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, I see the argument from BlackRock, right? When you read their press release, like this is great. This is how rich people make money, but this is also how we make our fees. Because it's really hidden and we can't tell you.
I'll link to a piece, by the way, OG, on that note to pause for just a second from Kiplinger. I'm not going to roll into it too much, but what's funny is at the bottom, the guy that they're talking to who's saying, hey, this could be a great thing. This could be fantastic. At the end, he goes, but I think your fees might go up too. Inside your really?
But you won't know that because it's so hidden. I mean, here's the thing. all of this stems from the same disease, in my opinion, which is people don't have the confidence in their own plan. The reality is when you don't have a well thought out retirement plan, you start throwing stuff against the wall because you don't have the confidence that you're on track. And if you're 40 years old or you're 50 years old or you're 60 years old and you're looking at this stuff going, oh, maybe I need to kick it up a notch. I need to be like Emerald and add a little BAM. That's a function of not having a good retirement plan in place where you have the confidence that you're on track, because you're just throwing stuff against the wall going, maybe I need to try to shoot the lights out here. I need to hit a grand slam on this pitch because you see the number, you haven't done the plan, and you go, I think I need to hit a home run, or I need to, whatever analogy you want to use here. It's like, that is from the same problem. The problem being you have no confidence in your plan. And if you don't, that's what you have to work on. It's not, let's try to get like this esoteric investment to fix the problem. By the way, that already exists. It's called Bitcoin. I mean, why do you have to go private equity? Bitcoin's the best performing asset class. I use air quotes because I'm not convinced it's an asset, but it's just an asset class. And so why don't you just put all your money there? Oh, that'd be crazy. Well, okay. So put all your money in a residential apartment luxury property in Nashville isn't crazy. Like what? Well, it's just different crazy, man. Like it's all crazy.
Pick your crazy.
I just remember one time I was talking to somebody about investing when we were investing in that real estate property in Michigan. I said, I think it's really undervalued and all justification on my side. And the guy that I was talking with goes, let me ask you a question. What do you think is going to be better in the long run? One single building in one single small town in the middle of Michigan, or the 500 most capitalized, well-run companies in the entire history of the world, run by, on average, the smartest people in the room? The collection of all those, or you and the one building in Bay City, Michigan. Now, that's not saying I didn't hit a home run there, because we did, honestly. But is it because I was some magical investor or because I got good luck with timing?
Well, you can see when you juxtapose those two against each other, OG, you can see the nature of the bet that you took.
Yes, that's the thing. And it's the long, and it's no different than anything else. When people are like, well, no, I think that, yes, you might be right now. I can't prove that it's no different than a single stock investing. I can't prove to you that your single stock isn't going to do better than the market tomorrow. I don't have any idea. But on average, the collection of all of them is going to do better than one random one that you pick if you look at it over time. So get your plan right, period. And then once you have your plan, now you can figure out what investments go in your plan. And I'm guessing you don't get to private equity in my 401k, probably.
Joe, it seems to me like there's three things we're trying to do here by talking about this. One is talking about ways to recognize scams, or at least things that are overly risky, whether it's something's guaranteed like the 8% or the high proposed return with the super fine print that says, oh, there's also high risk here. So what to look for, what to recognize. The second thing is, why would you want to invest that way if it's not right for you? Why would you want to invest like the 1% if it's not right for you and where you are in your journey? And the third thing is the value of creating a plan that protects you from yourself.
100%. I mean, you think about an investment policy statement. The average investor in a 401k earns just over 4%. Just over.
I find that number to be high, but I believe you.
But using the given investments we already have, the investments inside your 401k, by the way, are not the problem. And that's what we're pointing at. We're going, I can't do it with those.
Yeah.
Well, you got those and they're doing double what you are earning. If you're screwing up these, why does adding the apartment building in Nashville help you? I don't understand. I feel like it's a continuation of the FanDueling of America, right? Just
wow.
TM, I like it.
Yeah, that's great.
We need FanDuel in our 401k is what it really feels like to me.
FanDueling of America. Should we just end the show?
I mean, don't give them any ideas, man. Honestly. Could you imagine? Dude, what did you put your 401k in this week? Dude, you wouldn't believe this. I went with Luka over 35 versus the Mavs. I hit it big, man. I totally slayed my 401k investment this week because I had a feeling that he was going to have a triple-double.
Write an investment policy statement.
That's a great idea. Actually, we should do that. You know what? Let's just have fun.
Yeah.
Let's do sports betting in our 401k. If we're going to do, luxury real estate in Nashville, we might as well do how many touchdowns is
Seriously,
Joe Flacco
why
going to
not?
score this year for the Browns?
Well, and also to your point, OG, now I don't want to sit here and seem like to some of our longtime stackers that I'm a total hypocrite here, because while I have been down on things like YieldStreet and Fundrise, and I don't get it, I have said that some of these fintech companies that I still don't want in your 401k are really fun ways to invest. As you know, OG, I like the art one. You didn't like the art one. I like the art, investing in art, I think is a really fun investment choice. I like some of the collectible based investments where you could buy like rare books with a bunch of people. But you know what? I like those because explicitly they tell you right on the packaging how obtuse this is and how risky it is. What I hate about these is when they tell you, the Fundrise thing back in the day said engineered for superior results. Real estate investing's been around forever.
Compared to my car, which is also engineered for superior results.
It's just so invest like the 1%. What are you talking about? What are you appealing to?
Robinhood Gold.
Yeah, just drives me crazy. Lots of ways to steal money from people. And when these private equity things, stackers.
Mark Joe's words, the fan dueling of your 401k. Which actually I think would be a way better way to do it than
it would totally be, because with FanDuel, I know
you're watching
investment.
Sunday afternoon. Your buddy's like, "Oh man, another interception for Joe Flacco," and you're like, "God dang it!" You're like, "I didn't know you were such a fan." You're like, "Dude, I got him in my 401k. I'm getting destroyed. I got to wear a tutu and go play golf if I lose my 401k." It's like the mashup of all the betting.
It's 4th and 6, and either I'm not going to care about my retirement or I'm seriously not going to care about my retirement.
You better kick it, USOB.
No matter what happens. Oh, we will link to all these on our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. Coming up in the second half, we have a wonderful letter from stacker Lynn, and I've got a TikTok minute to end TikTok minutes, guys. Can't wait to share it with you. But first, Doug, you've got today's trivia question.
Hey there, stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and let's place a clean cut right here in the show because we've been talking about ripoffs and bad deals, but the one deal left in America, our national parks. That's right. Today is the day back in 1916 when our national park system was created. I'm still waiting for our national drive system to be created, but I'm fairly certain we've been in reverse nationally because all people have done online for about a decade is fight about Washington. I know, no politics, my bad. Okay, here's our national parks fueled trivia question. Which national park brings in the most revenue into the old till for Uncle Sam? I'll be right back right after I go see about my tent. Maybe one of these neighbors can help me pop it.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada? Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
Hey there, stackers. I'm professional tent popper and apparently guy who didn't know that term had another meaning, Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. The best part of this trivia question, I get to help make it less awkward, so we're going to move on. What national park brought in the most revenue of any in the USA? The answer, because it's closest to most of the population centers of the USA and also because it's amazing. Great Smoky Mountain National Park brought in the most revenue at $2.2 billion. The second most money wasn't even a national park. It was Golden Gate Bridge Recreation Area at $1.5 billion. And then third was the Blue Ridge Parkway at $1.4 billion. And here are two guys who are here to help you reach number 4 on that list. It's Joe and OG.
If you made $1 billion, you would be a 1%.
Yeah. Just think how stupid the government is investing like the 1% in a whole bunch of land. Dorks.
Amateurs.
You're going to lock it up in what?
No, hear me out, guys. It's a bunch of hills with trees on it. It's a great investment.
How do you make money on it? You just let people come look at it.
Yeah, exactly. You charge people to look.
Oh, as if people are going to do that. Right. Nice. Time for our TikTok minute. This is the part of the show where we shine the light on a TikTok creator who's either saying something brilliant or air quotes brilliant. Stacker Linda sent this to me, guys, and it's from I don't know the name of the comedian. So anybody knows the name of the comedian, please write to me and let me know who this is. But this is a comedian who was featured on TikTok channel called Shady. No idea what that's all about, but Linda thought that this was smart enough comedy that we should feature it. What do you think, OG? We're going to hear some brilliance. Did Linda send us brilliance?
Sure. Feeling it.
I love how we did that opening, Doug, from the old days, like an old time radio he opened today.
Oh, I'm picking up what you're laying down there, Joe.
This comedian's talking about life in the old days. Remember these days?
Oh God, another thing that was crazy about Generation X. I don't even know if you can talk about this anymore, but we did this thing. It is so weird. Okay. It was called critical thinking. And it's so crazy. So basically what you would do, this is like in the old days, you would listen to both sides of a story or a topic or an issue, and then you would make your own, this is crazy, you'd make your own opinion that would then guide you through life.
Isn't that weird how that used to work? You can't really talk about that anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
So good. Linda, that was so funny. Thank you so much for sending that our way. Maybe some people who needed to do some critical thinking before jumping into the hot thing on our scam episode. Let's move on, though, to a much more serious moment. We're going to say hello to Stacker Lynn, who thought, you know what? I better call Saul-Sehy and OG. Lynn has a great question for us. And if you've got a question for us, by the way, stackybenjamins.com/voicemail gets you to be as cool as Lynn is, who asks this question, guys.
Hey, I was just listening today with the person who had about $400,000 and was worried about the long-term care issue. And at the end, you kind of threw out this little bit of a gem. And so if you can get into that with a little bit more detail. So I'm single. My retirement, I'm in my early 60s, already retired, but by the time I get to over 70 and whatnot, I will be having about $10,000 to $15,000 per month after taxes in today's dollars. And so I'm kind of thinking I don't need to worry about long-term care at all, because again, assuming that continues to have a COLA, I will be able to afford a pretty nice place for the remainder of my days. And so that's not something that's really on my radar. If I had to, I would be able to go into a principal and pay some lump sums. But so if you guys can go into that more, thank you.
Lynn, thank you so much for the question. And the gem that she's talking about, OG, that you threw out was that long-term care insurance is for people that have enough to protect, but not enough to self-insure. And the big question, and I think the thing she calls the gem is, when you get to a certain point, maybe you don't need it. So, and you would also mention, though, that still is based on your goals. What goals do you have? When she mentioned COLA, by the way, that's a cost of living adjustment. So when she's talking 10 to 15,000, she apparently has a robust pension and Social Security going on, OG. But for her, what do you think? Does she need long-term care insurance?
Well, again, I think ultimately this just boils down to risk transfer one way or the other. Think about that matrix of I have it or I don't have it, and I need it or I don't need it. And so you can kind of picture where those boxes would go, right? Like I have it and I need it, meaning I have long-term care coverage and I need it. Okay, that's a good trade, generally speaking. I have it and I don't need it. Like, what does that do to the plan, right? Like if I pay this premium and I just live to be 95 and pass away in my sleep at home, like what does that do? And then what if I have it and I don't need it, or I don't have it and I don't need it? Obviously, don't have it, don't need it, you're good. So really the question is, does it make sense based on your plan to transfer some of the huge risk, the back end risk, to a third party in exchange for a slightly lower potential net worth at death? I don't know the answer to this in her case. If you're just looking at it purely from, hey, if I have 10,000 a month and I know long-term, a Cadillac long-term care coverage, whatever, like assisted care is $7,000-8,000 a month in my area, I think I'm good. I just sell my house and go live there. That seems like a fine scenario, right? The alternative side of that is, well, if you're there for 10 years, you've just burned through $1 million of your own money. Would you exchange 50,000 of that in exchange for not spending $1 million of your own money so that you can give that $1 million to other things or people or places that you care about? And if you don't care one way or the other, then yeah, use your own money or do some sort of combo plan and say, I'll be on the hook for the first 3 years, but if I need assisted care for years 4 through 10, then I would prefer to have that, that extended risk covered by, a third party. So it's really personal in terms of how you think about that one way or the other. If you have enough money, do I still want to watch that all go to the assisted care facility, or would I rather say, well, I'll just transfer some of that risk to the insurance company?
I really like, OG, where Lynn started with the question, though. It wasn't with long-term care insurance. It was, what is the risk to me? Yeah. And I think so many people, Lynn, don't start there. And the fact that you're like, oh, that was a gem, that maybe I have this risk, maybe I don't. So instead of thinking about, is long-term care insurance good or bad? It's how
much of it do I want to protect against versus not?
Such a kick-ass way to look at it, because you end up then not buying insurances you don't need, and you end up loading up on insurance that you do need if you do it.
Yeah,
starting with
it's no
risk
different.
management.
You look at long-term care insurance, and it seems like this nebulous thing. So just use car insurance as an example. When you buy a brand new car, even if you have payments on it or you don't, you likely have full coverage, right? You have collision and comprehensive, so that if a tree falls on it or you smash into something, you're going to be covered for the replacement of that vehicle. It's brand new. But as the car ages, you get to the point where you go, I'm okay either increasing this deductible quite a bit so that if there's a little fender bender, that doesn't bother me as much. The car's 10 years old and, stuff's going to happen, a little paint chip here and there, who cares? Or you start dropping the coverages because you're like, this thing's not worth paying insurance on a car that is only worth $8,000. If I sell it, why do I want to have a $2,000 deductible to put it back to $8,000 value? That $8,000 value, if it's crumpled, is now worth $7,000. Like, who cares? And so the same thing is true as you look at really any sort of risk management and any sort of insurance. It's like, when you're young and you have a bunch of kids and you don't have a lot of assets, you probably should have lots of life insurance, because if you got a mortgage and you got college to pay for and all that sort of stuff, when you're 55 and all your kids are out of school, you go, well, house is paid off, got a bunch of money. If I get hit by a bus, my spouse will be okay. Kids are all set. I don't want anybody any money. I mean, don't need as much. And then you do really well and you go, well, I need insurance again to pay for the estate taxes. So it changes as your life goes on. And this is true for this as well. So starting with the outcomes, I think, is the best place to go, because then it gives you some clarity around, do I want to cover this on my own or do I want to have somebody else cover it? Because really that's the ultimate decision.
Lynn, as a single person, if this is just a pension that's going to die with you, I totally agree that then you're not putting any assets at risk at all. So then this kind of transitions into being your long-term care policy. If it's putting assets at risk, then I think you get into what OG's talking about, which is what's the cost versus the benefit. One thing that's the same between people that are single or are married or whatever their status is, they might have groups that they want to protect when they pass away. I had plenty of single clients when I was an advisor who still had all kinds of charitable wishes and things that they wanted to do with their money if they couldn't spend it. So you still need to answer all those questions, I think, that OG, that you brought up earlier. Great question, Lynn. And I love the fact that you started with what's the risk and then what's the payoff going to be if I, depending on the ways that I look to plug that potential leak. StackyBenjamins.com/voicemail gets you on the show, and you could be as cool as Lynn. Thanks a ton for that. All right. Before we say goodbye, let's mosey out on the back porch because, Doug, you've got a few things here today I see stacked up.
Yeah, a couple of things, Joe. I want to make sure you talk about the HSA Basics webinar that's coming up because time is running out as that approaches us. So let everybody know some details about why they should attend.
Yeah, let's do it. Next Wednesday, I'm going to do a webinar for anybody who, you got no idea what this HSA thing is. This is not going to be for the super nerdy stacker out there who knows the HSA and is looking for all kinds of ways to flex it. That's a good webinar too. We may do that one in the future, but we've got plenty of people in our community that are like, I got this thing, HSA. I don't know if it's for me or not. I don't even know really how it works. I don't understand it. We're going to do basics of the HSA. That's at 8:30 Eastern time next Wednesday, September 3rd. So 2025, if you're listening.
I was going to say, you better, somebody could be listening to us in the future, man. It could be like 2032 and they're ticked.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about, Joe? Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That's 5:30 p.m. Pacific. StackyBenjamins.com/HSA is where you sign up, and we'll have the URL there and learn the basics of an HSA, because I think this is a really cool thing if used correctly, and also could be very misunderstood by people that have it available and really aren't sure how it works. So come join me next Wednesday.
So speaking of using things correctly, this has been bugging me for a few weeks now, and I just have to correct you on this because I've given you a chance, and you just keep on saying it wrong every time. You keep saying things like 5:30 p.m. Pacific. It's 5:30 p.m. specific, Joe.
Specific
time.
I mean,
they're very precise about the time. That's, I think,
on the East Coast.
Just get it right. No, on the West Coast. Right. Specific time.
And ET is extraterrestrial.
Right. Go look it up at the library.
8:30 p.m. extraterrestrial, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Specific.
And I also want to talk about a review we got from Dancing Lollipop.
Best name.
My brain went right to the Candyland, the box of Candyland, the front of the box. Yeah. That's how old I am. Dancing Lollipop says, always learn so much from the Stacking Benjamin show. I listened to several Phi podcasts, but this one is one of my favorites. I love the humor, and the guests and topic are always relevant to building a solid future. Keep up the good work! Exclamation point. Thanks, Dancing Lollipop.
I am back home, by the way. So Dancing Lollipop, I'd love to also, just as a thank you, and please don't leave us a review just because you want a book, but I will send you a book as a thank you for those kind words. So, because I've got a bunch of books that authors send us all the time and I can't keep them. So send me that was you, and I'll give you 5 different titles and you can choose one that you'll read.
And we didn't talk about it, but because Lynn called in and we got to hear her voice, she gets
some swag.
She gets a certificate for some swag. So don't forget about that. We'd love to hear all of your voices, not just your keyboard typing.
Thanks again for those kind words. Doug, let's roll into the end of this podcast. Thank you so much, everybody, for lending us your ears for the last hour. And I think there's a big lesson here, OG. Let's stay away from the scams.
Let's invest like the 99%.
Investing like the 99%.
Keep it simple.
Doug, what are our takeaways on this fine day?
Well, Joe, first, take some advice from Lynn. If you have enough to cover yourself, you're good. Invest in what you need, not what an industry tells you to buy. Second, investing like the 1%. Yeah, who wants that? Let's invest like you have the money you have. What's that best-in-class option? But the big lesson? If it walks like a ripoff and talks like a ripoff, it's probably that exclusive investment tip Mom overheard at Bridge Club, now being peddled everywhere down here next to the hot water heater. Keep your cash where it belongs, in your pocket, in your basement, free of bad ideas. That doesn't sound like any fun. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2025, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. Joe gets help from a few of our neighborhood friends. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show.
Did you guys watch the movie a few years ago starring Bob Odenkirk, Nobody?
Yes, on maybe your recommendation or OG's. Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, OG, did you see it?
No, I haven't. I've seen clips of it from, YouTube or whatever. But
this is your movie, man.
No, I know.
It 100% is his movie.
It is. You would love it.
It is so funny. I wanted nothing to do with it. And my friend Mike, who both of you guys know, highly recommended, to the point that he's like, I will watch it again with you. Mm-hmm. So we sat on his sofa. He fired it up on Amazon Prime, and we watched it, and it was so damn good. And then Cheryl and I, a few weeks ago, were at the theater and we see the previews for Nobody 2, which is out now. Yeah. And Cheryl's like, oh, this just looks violent. I'm like, I can't wait to see this. She's like, are you crazy? This isn't your kind of movie, Joe. I'm like, we got to watch Nobody. So this last week, she and I watched Nobody together, and she did not want to watch it. And by the end, she was like, that was awesome.
My wife felt the exact same way, and she's not an action movie person and just loved it. And Bob Odenkirk is not the person you would think would be in that role. And he was all in. He trained with, in Nobody 1, where there's a fight on a bus, and one of the early fights is on a bus with like a bunch of Russian mobster guys.
I love that.
I think the final guy that he ended up beating was his martial arts trainer for the film.
Oh, and really?
And Odenkirk did most of all of his own fighting.
The teacher.
Yeah. Odenkirk is very believable. And just by looking at him from like Better Call Saul or whatever else he's been in, you would not think of him as a potential action movie guy. He absolutely is. I was so impressed with that.
But I think it's that against type thing that is really cool. Like, I watched the new Naked Gun, and I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was every bit as stupid as the original ones, which is why, which is great. But having Liam Neeson play the part against type is what made it so fun. Just like, Leslie Nielsen doing the original ones. It was so funny because here's Leslie Nielsen, who's a serious actor who's playing
how close
the most
is that name to one another? Like Leslie Nielsen, Liam Neeson.
Isn't that funny?
Think of that.
You couldn't have picked a better person to
good point.
Do the reboot.
It was so good. But God, Odenkirk, speaking of that bus scene, Doug, this bus scene, these mobsters, OG, are getting ready to get on this bus. And Odenkirk at the beginning of the movie, super mild-mannered man, but you're in his head. And he's sitting there, and these guys just look like they're going to be trouble, and he just wants to fight. All Odenkirk wants to do is fight, and he's like, please get on the bus. Please get on the bus. Please.
Make my day, punk.
Yeah, this is, of all the movies we've talked about, I'll say this. It's been a long time since we've talked about a movie, and I thought, this is OG's movie. Like, your boys will love it. I mean, you should watch this soon.
I can't wait. We are going to see this weekend, this Labor Day weekend, we're going to go see Nobody 2.
I didn't realize it was in theaters. I thought they were doing it on streaming because I just saw a promo for it. For a while, you recommended it to me. I watched it pretty quickly thereafter, and then it disappeared. It was off all of the streaming services for a long time because I think they filmed that right before COVID.
Oh.
And he made that, like when he wrote that script, he did it with the full intent of it being a franchise, like being parts 2, 3, 4, whatever. And it disappeared. And I was really worried, like, oh man, this thing has all the ingredients it needs to have legs and have more. And I thought, oh, maybe too much time passed, or he just couldn't get funding for part 2. So just the other night I saw part 2 coming, I got pretty excited. I didn't realize it was a theater thing though. So you're telling me I got to wait.
I went to Amazon Prime, and you can watch it with ads unless you've got the upgraded thing. And so I just rented it on Amazon, and I paid a few bucks to rent. I told Cheryl, I'm like, I don't want to sit through all the ads. Let's just rent
for 1 or 2.
For 1. So for 2, I just prefer to go to the theater. I don't, my phone's off. I'm focused on the movie. I will always defer to the theater if I can.
Yeah, I don't. This isn't a movie I would say, like, visually you have to experience in a theater. I get you have other reasons why you like that.
Yeah.
But, it's not Dances with Wolves. You don't need...
Wow.
That's the first thing that came to my mind of something that is just so visually stunning that, you want to see that on a big screen. It's a recent movie.
The F1 movie, to be more recent, is a big screen movie.
Yeah.
That is a big screen movie. You'd like that one too, OG.
Yeah, there's that. There's a couple on Apple TV, or TV Plus, whatever the hell they call their things right now. There's a couple there that look pretty good. And I have gotten back into Ted Lasso. So I'm just kind of working my way through it. And it's kind of hit the dull spot in the middle where like everything is the same.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think I'm on season 2. It's funny.
I think it picks up again though.
I imagine.
In fact, it's funny. That is such a feel-good show that my sister came and brought my niece when she was, like I don't know, 8th grade, maybe. And I forgot how dirty that show.
I was going to say, I was like, you didn't watch this with an 8th grader, did you? Because it gets.
We did because all I remembered was just the feel good nature and the shows you can do it and
good lessons. Try hard, believe. The other third of it is very
horrible,
adult themed.
Yeah, right. Adult themed. I saw a coffee mug that had like the Venn diagram with 3 circles. And it was...
Thanks for explaining a Venn diagram.
Well, sometimes there's only 2 circles. This one had 3. Indeed. And it just said Roy Kent over the top of it. And then in one circle, it was here. Then the other circle, it was there. And the bottom, it was everywhere. It was pretty funny. It's like the song they have for Roy Kent. I thought that was hilarious. They're filming the 4th season right now, I think partly in Kansas City.
That's sweet. I'm excited about that.
Who knew?